What was the big rumor in your high school did turn out to be true? Back in high school, there was this huge rumor floating around that everybody whispered about, but nobody confirmed. It was about a freshman named Kayla, an 18-year-old who'd recently become pregnant. The rumor was insane. People said this was her fourth kid, that she'd first gotten pregnant at 12, and that's why she'd never finished 9th grade. I didn't know Kayla at the time, just overheard snippets in the hallways and in the cafeteria. Most of it was cruel speculation, people laughing at a situation they didn't understand. But then in PE, we both ended up walking the mile. She was quiet, but I could tell she was tired, maybe from staying up late taking care of things at home. I felt bad seeing someone already struggling with a rumor like that. We started talking over the course of the mile, just casual stuff at first. Our favorite music, movies, nothing too heavy. She had a kind of dry humor about her, like she'd learned to laugh at the chaos of her life. By the third week, we were actually friends. She opened up a little, telling me about trying to stay in school and keep her grades up for her baby. That's when I realized the rumors were probably wrong, but I didn't press. Some things are hard to ask without sounding like a gossip. One afternoon, she told me more than I expected. She had twins when she was 13. Then, at 14, she was still trying to finish 9th grade while taking care of them, but she got pregnant again. That kid became her third, and by the time she was 15, she was done with school. Now at 18, she was pregnant again, her 5th child. My jaw practically dropped when she told me, not because I judged her, but because the scale of what she'd been handling since she was a kid was hard to imagine. Walking with her on that mile, listening to her explain how she tried to stay on top of school and parenting at the same time, it hit me how serious her situation was. She was trying, really trying, to make a life for herself and her kids, and the rumors people were spreading didn't even scratch the surface. Nobody could have guessed the full story just from what they saw at school. The gossip had painted her as some reckless kid who'd done this over and over, but in reality, it was complicated. She wasn't careless, she was overwhelmed, trapped in circumstances that most adults would struggle to handle. The twins alone at 13, it's almost impossible to comprehend the pressure that would put on someone that young. By the end of the school year, I kept in touch with her whenever possible. She talked about classes she was trying to finish online, childcare arrangements, the stress of balancing everything. I realized that everyone in school had treated her like a punchline in a rumor, not a human being trying to survive a life that had been thrust on her long before she could fully understand it. Looking back, it's crazy how a rumor that seemed so outrageous, fourth kid at 18, first at 12, was actually not just partially true, but still understated. She had 5 kids now, the first 2 twins, the next one at 14, and now the latest at 18. The numbers made it almost surreal, but the story of her life was the part that stayed with me. Resilience, exhaustion, and trying to push forward in a world that wasn't designed to give someone like her a fair chance. Walking the mile with her every day gave me a perspective I never would have had if I just listened to the rumor mill. I saw her humanity, her humor, her struggle. She was so much more than the whispers in the hallways. Now, years later, I still think about her sometimes, wondering how she managed, how her kids were doing, and whether she ever got the support she needed. The rumor had been true in a technical sense, but it had never captured the depth of what she was going through. What really stuck with me was realizing that the truth behind a rumor can be far more complicated, far more serious than anyone expects. And Kayla, she wasn't just some shocking story for people to gossip about. She was someone who kept trying, who kept surviving, who kept moving forward despite circumstances that would have crushed most people twice her age.